Hey guys, Dr. here and welcome back to Game Week 19 predictions. We are not in the offices today. You can probably tell that. That is good. Yes, I'm in Morocco, but I'm also top of the points. What are they?
And the scores on the doors from last week. It's Thogden 12 points and Thogdad 6 points. Just when I thought I'd caught him, he drags me back in.
Brilliant, but what's the first game?
Burnley against Newcastle United is 19th against 14th. Two teams who are struggling to find any sort of form. Now, Burnley lost 7 in a row. Then they've drawn the last 2 games. But the trouble is, Everton at home, you've got to look for 3 points there. And they only had 1 shot on target in 90 minutes. But Newcastle is not much better. They've only won 1 of the last 5. They went to Old Trafford against a depleted Man United team and they lost. Their away form is terrible at the moment. In fact, you know what? This could be a really terrible game. It could easily be 0-0. But I'm going to go Burnley 0, Newcastle United 1.
The Boxing Day fixtures did show that Burnley drew 0-0 to Everton. Not a classic, shall we say, but it is 2 points that they've now picked up, which is better than the losses that Scott Parker's been taking week after week. So that is a step in the right direction. As for Newcastle have not been great. They should have turned up to Manchester United with the hope they're going to get 3 points. They got 0. Not very good from Eddie Howe there. You know, Man United are missing Amad Diallo, Bruno Fernandes in that game, and Buemo, the list continues, and somehow didn't come away with anything, which is a bit of a shocker, but well done to United and Ruben Amorim for getting something, and not just something, 3 points, which is huge. So now for the Toon, it's all or nothing. You cannot turn up to the claret and blue home ground of Turf Moor and not get 3 points here. Walter should be licking his lips, etc., etc. Boxing Day, maybe there's an excuse, big Christmas dinner, but for this one, you need to end the calendar year on a high. So, despite Burnley being on a draw run, Newcastle did also have 24 hours of extra rest during this sort of Christmas fixtures, which is important to note, but they are the travelling fans. They haven't lost this fixture in the last 9 attempts as well, which is something interesting to pick up on. So for that reason, I'm backing Newcastle to win 2-1 and Walter Marder or Anthony Gordon. One of those lads are going to cook and they're going to get that winning goal. So 2-1, what do you think, Dad?
Chelsea against AFC, Bournemouth is 5th against 15th. Two teams who lost last game week. Now Chelsea, only 1 win in the last 6 games. It started so well against Aston Villa, but they let things slip late on. But Bournemouth, it is even worse. They were smashed by Brentford. They've now gone 9 Premier League games without any kind of win. What is worrying is they're conceding loads of goals away from home. You know what? I'm just going to go to this game. I'm in London. I rang up my mate Matt. Going to have a few beers beforehand, and then we're off to Stamford Bridge. So I hope there's goals here. I'm going to go Chelsea 3, Bournemouth 1.
Chelsea, Bournemouth now. The Cherries are showing up to Stamford Bridge. I told you last week the dynasty's over and they got battered 4-1 by Brentford. And then there's Villa, who turned up to Chelsea and beat them too. So it's the battle of the losers here. Maresca against Iraola. Who can leave their club first? Let's find out. But I must say, Chelsea will have the upper hand because although they lost to Villa are in a title race. Chelsea, I don't know what they're racing. They're racing who can sack their manager the fast. I don't know what they're... But seriously, Cole Palmer's back in the team, and despite him ghosting in their last fixture, I'm sure there's still a chance they can do something here. He'll be licking his lips at this one. Bournemouth have no longer got Semenyo, so I can only go one way with my prediction. I have to back Chelsea. It's a matter of how many. It's the same sort of thing I said for Brentford, and they did go out and score 4, but for Chelsea, I'll give them 2 goals. 2-0, Chelsea back to winning ways.
Nottingham Forest against Everton is 17th against 12th. 2 teams in the bottom half of the table. Now Forest lost in the last game week to Manchester City, which is not too embarrassing, and they are 5 points clear of the relegation zone. Now they're going to look at this game against Everton and think 3 points because Everton didn't manage to score away at Burnley. In fact, for the last 4 months, I can't remember them scoring more than 1 goal away from home. So this is going to be a low-scoring game, and I reckon Forest are going to win 1-0.
Forest, Everton now, and yes, Forest have ended the calendar year on a win in 2023, 2024, so let's find out if they can do it at the end of 2025. Funny actual stat because the Toffees have lost to 0 on the end of the calendar year, of those last 2 years, which is kind of crazy to me. So does that mean Forest are going to turn their form and finally beat Everton? Well, it's a very good time to play them because the Toffees are missing Iliman and Dye because he's in Morocco with me. He's missing Jack Grealish because he had too many beers at Christmas, very different reason. And don't forget Keane and Dewsbury Hall, who's injured. So this is a great chance for Forest to win. Sean Dyche lost 2-1 to City. Fans were a bit upset about that. Great win for City, keeping them in that title race. So I think Forest win it. I just think Everton's team, you can't really back them right now. They're beaten down. And even if Grealish does come back from this game, I'm not sure it'll make a massive difference. I'm backing a home win, which they haven't done in a bit. Sean Dyche proved me right. 1-0, Igor Jesus to find a goal.
West Ham United against Brighton, and Hove Albion is 18th against 13th. Two more struggling teams, two more teams who lost last weekend. Now for West Ham, it is 3 defeats in a row. They're going to end the half season in the relegation zone, and already people are calling for the head of their manager Nuno. Brighton, meanwhile, only 2 points from the last 5 games. Now, admittedly, there were some tough fixtures there, but it isn't good enough for a team who's looking to get into Europe. But what decides this for me is that Brighton's record at the London Stadium is excellent. The last 8 games, the last 8 head-to-heads at the London Stadium, Brighton have not lost. This is going to be West Ham 0, Brighton 1.
The London Stadium hasn't been a place with many smiles this season, but when they place Brighton at home, you think they've got a great chance. Let's be honest here. Yes, they've been 7 Premier League matches without a victory, but it's now or never, okay? The horrid defending to that Harry Wilson to Jimenez goal in the late on 80-something minute against Fulham was a disgrace. They were about to get a draw. That was my prediction, but forget that, okay? Let's forget they missed the ball and they put that ball in. But the Seagulls fought well at Arsenal, and they give me belief that they're going to come away with something in this game. I don't know. I know Brighton have once gone from 5th place to now bottom half of the table, but something tells me they've got that fight in them to come and get a result here. So, you know, they have only lost once to West Ham since their promotion in 17-18 as well, which is a great record on head-to-head. So I think they'll continue that and get a 2-1 win at the London Stadium. There will be boos. Like there were boos when my dad predicted last week. We're getting a lot right on these predictions, I must say. Smash the like, because I think last week my dad and I won one of you guys a lot of money. So let me know if you actually did put, you know, a bet on or something like that, because generally we got a lot right. So I'm not saying listen to us this week, but West Ham are going to lose at home again 2-1. Doesn't take a genius, but 2-1 will be the score.
Arsenal against Aston Villa is 1st against 3rd. This is the game of the weekend. 2 teams who want to be champions come May this year. Now, Arsenal, 3 wins in a row. They are holding off Manchester City, and their home record this season in the Premier League has been superb. They are unbeaten, and they've won 8 out of 9 games. But talking about winning games, Aston Villa, 11 wins in a row in all competitions. And let's talk about 2 men. Ollie Watkins came off the subs bench. He was the hero at Stamford Bridge. And the other man we should talk about is Unai Emery, the gaffer. What a gaffer. He returns to the Emirates for this one. And I know Theo's going to disagree with this, but I'm just going to go with Arsenal. I think they're going to win a tight, brilliant game, 2-1.
Wow, wow, wow. Thogdad, you've introduced what could be a bit of a Premier League decider. Okay, I'm here at AFCON, the Africa Cup, but I'm thinking about Arsenal Villa. I must be honest, okay, because Arsenal, they've not really been tested. They won by 1 goal against Brighton. They won by 1 goal against Palace and Wolves, all at home. Okay, easy games. Well, nothing in the Premier League is easy, but Palace have been woeful recently, and actually that went down to a penalty shootout, so Arsenal should have been more dominant. Brighton have been awful. Wolves are the worst team in the league. So they really should be doing, you know, clinching results more clearly, and they're not doing that, if I'm being clearly honest. And Unai Emery, against his old club, by the way, he's never lost to his old club. In the last 2 games, he won 1 and drawn 1 when facing them for Villa. So they've got that never say die attitude. They went 1-0 down to Chelsea last week. They won 2-1. In fact, from the start of the Premier League season, they've picked up 18 points from losing positions. That's more than any other team. So even if Arsenal score in the first half, you know Villa will believe. Ollie Watkins will be in your face. Buendia will be in your face. All the lads. So I'm expecting some interesting scenes in this game, but I think I'll end a draw. I think Arteta makes every game tough. And although Villa beat them on December the 6th, this month, literally, at home 2-1, it was a 95th minute winner from Buendia. I don't think that'll happen at the Emirates. I think this will end a 1-1 draw. I'm a little bit scared because I feel like my dad is going to go for the same in this game. And if he does, I would have edged towards a 2-1 Villa. I'm only saying that because when you watch the game, you know that I had that in my mind. But 1-1 right now, but if I favoured one team, it would generally be Villa. It would not be Arsenal, based off the last few games.
Manchester United against Wolverhampton Wanderers is 6th against 20th. It is the biggest mismatch of the game week. Now, Man United were missing Bruno Fernandes in the last game game week, but they managed to beat Newcastle. Patrick Dorgu doing the damage in that one. Whereas Wolves went to Anfield, they were not embarrassed, but they lost by a 1-goal margin yet again. And that is 11 Premier League defeats in a row. I know at some point they're going to get a good result, but how can you possibly predict it? I'm just going to go Man United 1, Wolves 0.
We're not talking about title races anymore, guys. We're going to Old Trafford for Manchester United versus Wolves. Last year, this was a relegation battle between the two. And this year, it's a relegation battle. I'm kidding, okay? United have got a few wins here and there. They finally beat someone. They scrapped the 3 back. Ruben Amorim, well done. You finally, you accepted it wasn't working and you beat a solid team in Newcastle. Just saying. So clearly there is some logic behind the madness, but this is the kindest fixture in the Premier League calendar. There's no doubt about it. United have tendencies, though, to concede second half goals, especially when they're leading from the first half. So it wouldn't surprise me if we'll score here, but come on. You've got to favour United. If Bruno's back, they're definitely winning. If he's not, they probably still should win. It doesn't matter who they play here. They need to be confident. I actually based my prediction off the form. Wolves went away to Liverpool and Arsenal, and there was one scoreline that happened. They lost 2-1. So they're going to lose 2-1 here. It's simple maths. They're going to go to United and lose 2-1, but they'll score. They'll find a way to score.
Crystal Palace against Fulham is 9th against 10th. It's a mid-table London derby. Now, Crystal Palace had a wonderful 2025. They won the FA Cup. They got to Europe, but it's ended in a rather poor fashion. They've lost the last 3 games. And a few minutes ago, they lost to Tottenham Hotspur. They didn't play badly. They just lacked that killer instinct. And the likes of Mateta are just a little bit out of form. And they're playing a Fulham team who've won 3 in a row. They beat West Ham in the last game week. Jimenez doing the late damage. And if you look at the table, they're only 3 points behind neighbours Chelsea. But having said all that, I think this is going to be a 1-1 draw.
I'm sure my dad introed this game and called it a London rivalry. Probably not a derby, but that's my prediction. I've not seen the clip. Back at home for Palace after losing to Tottenham. Tough result to take, but not surprising without Ismail Assar, who's been pretty good this season. Daniel Munoz has been crucial, okay? Their bench doesn't look as exciting as it did at the start of the season. Of course, Eze's gone to Oliver Glasner, probably doesn't want to extend his contract because he's looking at the squad thinking, not even Mick McCarthy can pick up points with this team. But Fulham have taken 6 points from 2 games, even losing their Nigerians to AFCON, 3 crucial players. So no excuses have been made by Marco Silva, may I add. And that's why you can't really hate on what they're doing. A 34-year-old Mexican who had been written off by pretty much every Premier League team is the one scoring the winning goals in the last 2 games, okay? So never give up. I think that's what Fulham fans have realised, never give up. And they've actually had a bit of a clean sheet record in the last 180 minutes, so well done to them. But I do think Palace will score here, and so will Fulham. This will be a 1-1 draw.
Liverpool against Leeds United is 4th against 16th. It is Lancashire against Yorkshire, and it is 2 teams who are unbeaten in the last 5 games. Now, Liverpool beat Wolves in the last game week, and I'm delighted that Florian Wirtz got his first goal in the Premier League, and they're playing a Leeds United team who got a really good draw at the Stadium of Light, and by rights they should have won that game. DCL has now scored in the last 6 Premier League games, and his goal against Sunderland was a superb team goal. All the outfield players touched the ball. So this will not be a cricket score, but I'm going to go with Liverpool to win 2-0.
Back to Anfield, yes dad, where things seem to be a little bit more settled as Mo Salah's gone to Morocco, where we are, and despite Mo Salah scoring last-minute winners and qualifying with 6 points, I do think Salah will be rested before the round of 16 onwards, where they've got a great chance of winning here, must I add. But back at home, Liverpool looking great, and Florian Wirtz seems to be getting a bit more on the ball, a bit more belief, confidence, etc. Ekitike's got 6 contributions, shall I add, in 5 games, which is a great record. So Wirtz, Ekitike doing great, which is almost nice to see. Anfield, on slot. I mean, Stevie G recently said in an interview that he would go back. He would even go back to do any role, not just manager. He would, if there was any role in the staff, he would go back, which I don't really believe. I think he's kind of trying to gas up the fans a little bit to make them think that he might come back or something. But the reality of it is that on slot is going back to winning ways. And I think Liverpool will win here. They look solid. Leeds have now not won in 6 away from home, despite fighting for their lives. And let's be honest, Calvert-Lewin getting a goal every single week. And I think he'll get one here. I just can see Liverpool scoring a few more. And this game will end a 2-goal difference to Liverpool. I think it will go 3-1. And if it does happen, I get that extra point. That's the rules. And I want it before the new year.
Sunderland against Manchester City is 7th against 2nd. This is going to be a fascinating encounter between two northern teams having brilliant seasons. Now, Sunderland are still unbeaten on their home turf, but Leeds pushed them very, very close. And a shout out to Adringa for getting his debut goal of the season for Sunderland. But they're playing a City team who've won the last 6 games in the Premier League. They are just waiting for Arsenal to slip up. And I'm sorry, Sunderland fans, this is your first home defeat of the season. It's going to be Sunderland 1, Manchester City 2.
Last but not least, yes, Dad, we're at the Stadium of Light again, which is a place where they've actually been unbeaten in the last 10 Premier League games. However, they've never beaten Manchester City in the last 10 fixtures. Now, I know Sunderland are recently promoted and we'd have to look back to games at 2015, etc. But even then, they were not getting close to wins against Man City. It's funny. So this is a fixture really about the 10s. And I have a feeling this is where the home run of, the Stadium of Light aura ends, because City are just different right now. They are giving everything. Pep's measuring them after Christmas Day. Can you believe that? Sean Dyche wouldn't have that, but it works and they're winning, and they've got a team that wants to go for the Premier League and they've done it before, and Sunderland won't stop them. I'll cut straight to the basics of it. They're going to win this game. It's whether 1 or 2 goals, the difference of goals. So let's not ignore the facts. 6th of December, Manchester City 3, Sunderland 0. They're now playing at the end of December. Of course City are going to win. Clip me all you want. This will end Sunderland 0, City 2. They will win again. Haaland with 1, maybe a cheeky Ruben Diaz header or something. If Maya Jammer's in the away end again, you never know.
And finally, Brentford versus Tottenham Hotspur, 8th against 11th. It's another London derby in the middle of the table. 2 teams who won last game week. Now, Brentford absolutely smashed AFC Bournemouth. Sharda doing the damage with a hat-trick, and that is now 4 out of 5 home wins for the Bees. But they're playing a Tottenham team who've had real problems of late, but that ended earlier today with a good win against Crystal Palace. Archie Gray used to play for Leeds. He got his first goal in senior football. Richarlison had the ball in the net twice, both of them offside. Now I'm going to go for a narrow home win here because Brentford are absolutely smashing it on the home turf of late. It's going to be 2-1 to the Bees.
Yes, it's West London time. Brentford-Tottenham. Tough game to predict because Tottenham have just won in London and played very recently. And they're going away, but again, not very far. Another London fixture, so it's kind of blessed them. They can spend time at home before going again, Thomas Frank's lads. But Brentford will be very happy. They've just won at home 4-1, and soon after they're playing at home again. Yes, the opposition's a bit harder, but they have that goal scoring and winning mentality in their head. Very important. They're looking strong, and it's funny because you now look in the Premier League table and Brentford are higher up than Tottenham and they're at home. How could anyone back anything but a Brentford win? So that's what I will do. I will back them to win here, but it's weird because Spurs have won this game in the last 4 and they've scored 2 or 3 goals. It's not just been like a cheeky 1-0. No, they've gone and scored 2 or 3. So that's why it's difficult to predict. But Kevin Sharda is scoring hat-tricks, so how can I bet against them? Simple as that. So I'm backing Andrews. I'm backing Brentford 2-1. And that is all the games to end what has been a great 2025. I hope that I stay top of the predictions points. I've never beat my dad in several years of doing this. So there will be a trophy at the end because only trophies come out when I win. But it's been a great year of predictions. So smash the like. Let's try and set a like record for the end of 2025, and 2026, it's onwards and upwards. So thank you for watching this video and subscribe for much more content. The predictions is only going to one place on your screen. See you in a bit. Bye-bye.